Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, as you can see from the title of it, it's not going to be very lucky for the owner, but without further ado, let me switch the camera and show you why is that. So the car came for like very usual stuff what we do here. So it initially came for carbon cleaning and exhaust camshaft inspection. And now let me show you what we found or how we do it. Basically, even though without checking the intake manifold for carbon buildup, we don't really do that, because usually at this mileage the car has just slightly below 100k. There is the carbon buildup already if the intake manifold hasn't been removed, which we can tell usually by that clamp which has the white dot on it. It is turned to the cabin or turned to the side of the cabin, and from that we know it hasn't been removed. So quite obviously that will be needed. But firstly, to show the owners what we found or what's the case, we rather remove the valve cover first. And as you can see here, that's happened, and I knew that there is trouble in the paradise from when I was removing the injectors. These three were coming out easily, this one wasn't, and you can see the carbon buildup is there around the injector hole, meaning the injector washer was blowing out, it was worn. I can show you the valve cover from underneath, and also you see those three injectors are shiny and this one is like dirty, meaning that was the one which was stuck. So I had to use my special tool to remove it. Also further bad news for the owner is that the camshaft is worn. You can see that on the fourth variable valve timing camshaft lobe it is worn. However, there are even more bad news. When I will leave the car I will show you, but before that let me tell you a little backstory. So the owner bought the car like 2 years ago for £9,000, as you could see from the title, and I wasn't here when we received the car. So Dan was here and he said that the owner told him there is nothing wrong, or there was nothing wrong with the car. There is neither at the moment, as far as he knows. He came here because of a recommendation of his friend who has been with us recently, and we've done his car and he was happy with the results he got. So he recommended us to his friend, and here he is. However, when I've scanned the car, I already noticed that the P2262 fault code was stored, meaning that this sensor is on its way out, and or slash the pipe is blocked, and that's why it's giving low values. So I've confirmed from the live data scan the sensor was giving low values. And also I've noticed that even when the engine is relatively cold, the oil pressure is around 130-120 kPa at idle. But when I rev it, it was in a perfect range. So that seemed like a little bit strange to me already, and I put that on the job card. But now let me lift the car and show you what's the bigger problem and explain that a little bit as well. So after I have removed the valve cover, I contacted the owner, sent him a short footage, what we found, what we recommend. We obviously recommended replacing the camshaft, the exhaust pressure sensor, the drive belt, because that was cracked, carbon cleaning, and because what we've seen on the top, that carbon buildup around the injector hole number 1, we recommended removing the oil sump, which is already removed. So now let me switch the camera and show you what we found. So ask Dan to help me show you what we found. So here is the sump, and hopefully you can see those particles in the old engine oil. Those are carbon particles washed down from the top, from around the injector hole number 1 where it was blowing out. But there is more to the story, and even worse. Let us show you that, which is here. So have a look at it. We were shocked when we seen it. I think you can see it as well. Basically, the oil strainer is cut open, but not only that, you can still see here the remainings of the plastic mesh, these ones. So that is cut off as well. And what this causes, basically it doesn't filter anything anymore because the mesh is cut. Like, it can't be blocked obviously, but everything is getting sucked inside the oil pump. The bad thing about that, we don't know how long it's been like that. I will include a footage or like a photo or picture of a receipt from last year where the owner had some kind of leak. And they removed the sump. So there may have been two things what happened. Either they removed the sump because on the invoice there is like they cleaned the sump, and maybe they didn't notice that it was cut and didn't let the owner know, or they've done it and then they put back the sump. We don't know, we don't want to judge. We can't tell at the moment, or we won't be able to tell at all. It doesn't matter. But what is even worse with that, so as it sucked all those particles, the carbon particles inside, we don't know what the further damage it may have caused to the engine. Because now I need to get in touch with the owner what we found and ask him what to do next, because this repair is slightly above his budget already. And the next step would be for us to remove the oil pump and the balancer unit together and check the bearings for scoring or scratches or wear, because we suspect that there is a wear. Don't know how significant that would be. It would be need to be checked. So we need to get in touch with the owner, show him what we found, and then the decision, a tough decision, will be on him to make, whether he wants us to proceed with the job. But definitely there will be further increase in costs in that. So I will get back or show you or let you know what was his decision and how we are going to proceed. And also then just reminded me that I must let you know what the customer has a suspicion of, that the DPF was removed. And have a look at it. So it is drilled, it's removed, and I could see that in the software as well. I just forgot to tell you, but yeah, that has been removed. So there are few things wrong with this car already, unfortunately, at the moment.